The time is now to architect a life of excellence. What will we do? Who will we become? We decide today. This is Learn, Do, Become Radio. Let's move onward and upward together.
Hello and welcome to Learn, Do, Become Radio. I'm April Perry, and today's podcast is for you if you are working towards some big goals right now, or if you would like to be, but you're feeling overwhelmed or behind, or like no matter how hard you work, it's never enough. Trust me, you're not alone. So I've gathered up 6 truths today that will hopefully give you a lift and renew your energy so that you can more fully live your purpose. All right, so there's 3 quick things to start out before we jump into the 6 truths. First is just a little introduction of learndobecome.com. If you're new, we talk about life architecture. This is that process of creating a blueprint for your life. Like you would create a pattern for a shirt or a plan to build a house or a recipe for a meal. But it's really rare for people to actually think about, create, and architect their own lives. And at the heart of this is strengthening families. We believe that it's the family that matters. And although family life is definitely not easy, building a strong family, we believe, is the most beautiful cause in the whole world. All right, number 2 is at Learn to Become, we help people get out of the overwhelm. It's kind of where we start because it's hard to create and architect a life when you're just overwhelmed by piles. Now, sometimes piles include just clutter around your house. Sometimes it's piles of papers to sort through and file. Sometimes it's piles of emails. And sometimes it's just piles of thoughts in your head, just so many things that you feel like you need to do. And we totally understand. So Eric and I teach a totally free class that you can come and learn how to get out from under the piles. And you can find us at learndobecome.com/step, STEP. Okay, so join us there for those classes because that'll be fun. And then number 3, in this podcast and throughout the website, our comments often center on a higher power. Now, Learn to Become isn't for one specific religion, so while we will obviously speak from our own experiences and faith, we try to speak and write and teach in a way that can easily be adapted and personalized to your own beliefs and faith. Just want to make sure we're on the same page. All right, I think we're ready to jump into the 6 truths that hopefully will give you a lift today. Truth number 1. Your goals are not too big. Sometimes we feel like the far-reaching, huge goals, or even just the complicated ones that feel like they're hard to attain, are just too big for us and we shouldn't try anymore. One of the things that I want to remind you is that when you feel a desire to improve or to do something to serve other people, that's from a higher power, and that's really important for us to listen to that voice and listen to those promptings and that excitement. I learned a great lesson from Christy Wright, who runs the business boutique that's put on by the Dave Ramsey Company. She said that she was really, really nervous about the conference, feeling a lot of anxiety. And then she heard a little voice that said, "Christy, you're getting anxious because you think that this is your conference, but this is my conference." I think when we can step back and recognize that we are instruments and we're just doing work to help other people, that takes the pressure off. We don't have to do everything perfectly. Our imperfect efforts are enough. I think it's also important to recognize that each of us is not here to serve everyone. We're here to do work in our own sphere. This podcast isn't going to be for everyone, but it's not like I shouldn't record it because it's not important to maybe that one person who needs it. I had on my screensaver the words, "It's not about you." That was such a good reminder to me because whenever I start feeling anxious or worried or concerned, it's because I'm putting myself at the center, and I think that it's about me. And hopefully we can change that up. All right, truth number 2. You are not failing. There's often a little voice in our heads that tells us that we're behind, that nothing we're doing is good enough, and that we're falling short every time we turn around. That's simply not true. There's a little comparison chart that I found online. I shared it on our Facebook page at Learn, Do, Become, and it had a ton of comments and shares and thought I would include it here. So on the left side, it says God, and on the right side, it says Satan. It's just two columns, and they're comparing and contrasting. I'm going to start with what was on the right side under Satan. It says, rushes you, frightens you, pushes you, confuses you, condemns you, stresses you, discourages you, and worries you. And then on the left side, it has God, and it says, stills you, reassures you, leads you, enlightens you, forgives you, calms you, encourages you, and comforts you. I love that. And when I can sit there and compare, it's really obvious where the negative thoughts are coming from. Now, whatever your beliefs are, I think you can see, like that story of the two wolves that's inside each one of us. And it's the one we feed that wins. When we can believe that what we're doing is enough, and we can believe that we're not failing, that's huge. One of my favorite quotes is by C.S. Lewis, and he says, "Don't shine so others can see you. Shine so that through you, others can see him." So I hope that that will encourage you today. All right, truth number 3. When challenges arise, recognize that they are only going to strengthen you. God needs brave sons and daughters. Now, I interact with you, the members of the Learn, Do, Become community often, and I know that you're going through so many challenges, and they're unique to each of us. Some of you are going through challenges in your marriage or challenges financially, or you're in the middle of something that just feels so hard that you just don't know if there's a way out. So what I want to remind you of is that there is a way out, and these challenges are going to help you ultimately to become who you're meant to be, but we're going to use these challenges wisely. Now, just this past month, I've gone through a really hard challenge. I had an unfortunate collision at a sock hop. I know it sounds weird. I was on rollerblades there to help serve the food, like the waitress. And I didn't have a helmet on. I should have. I didn't. So I had an unfortunate collision with another child who was learning how to swing dance. And I ended up hitting my head on the hardwood floor really hard. And so I got a concussion. And for the past month, I have spent most of each day in bed, which has been so frustrating because I run websites and I can't look at screens when I'm recovering from a concussion. There's no TV, there's no reading, and I've been laying around having my family do pretty much everything, which has been so incredibly hard. And while I was laying there, though, thinking about these challenges, I recognize that, yes, even recovering from a concussion, it's going to help strengthen me. Okay, well, how? Number 1, I learned what's really essential. There's so much that I was putting in my life that I really didn't even need to do. And I found that the world went on without me just fine. I mean, yes, it's great for me to be able to podcast and hang out with my family and help at the elementary school and all the activities I love doing. But when I was down, I realized that the things that really matter are God and my family and living my mission and doing the essential things I need to do. So I learned a ton just there. But I also recognized how much I appreciate having a brain, having a mind, having a life. As imperfect as it is, I feel so privileged to get to wake up and to live each day and to serve God the best that I can. So I hope that as you think about your challenges, which I know sometimes feel so insurmountable, I hope that you can feel a greater sense of hope and know that these challenges are helping to make you brave, and they're helping you to be able to have an influence that's going to be more broad and far-reaching than you can even understand right now. All right, truth number 4, you have enough time. Eric and I recorded a podcast with Greg McKeown, who's the author of the book Essentialism, and I'll talk about that book all the time because it's amazing if you haven't read it. If you'd like to listen to the podcast we recorded with him, it's learndobecome.com/episode 12. So you can go check that out. But one of the things that he emphasizes in the podcast is the difference between an essentialist and a non-essentialist. A non-essentialist seems to think that everything has to be done right this minute. Everything is important. Everything is equally important. It all needs to be done right now by me. Actually, no, it has to be done yesterday. And when I heard Greg talk about that, I just thought that was me. I think everything on my list has to happen right this minute. And if I don't do all of it simultaneously, somehow I'm behind, which absolutely isn't true. And logically, we know that. But something in our minds tells us that we have to keep going as fast as possible until we totally burn out. And if we do burn out, then we failed. I have been stepping back and considering that, yes, I do have enough time for what's essential. And very, very little is actually essential. It does add up. So yes, there will be a lot of things we'll do in our lives, but not all at the same time. Now, I actually have a book in front of me called None Like Him by Jen Wilkin. And this is the first book I've read of hers, but I absolutely love it. And I've read the whole thing and marked it all up and even sent it to some friends. I think it's so great. But one of the things that she talks about, this is on page 77, she says, the compulsively busy person believes there will never be enough time to manage her responsibilities. She too believes she can spend today as she pleases, packing in more than one day's share of activity, complaining that there are not more hours in the day. She's characterized by exhaustion and overcommitment. Like a penny pincher, she wrings every ounce of productivity out of every minute of the day, secretly believing that rest is for when we die. Busyness believes that the time God has given is not adequate. And that really hit me because I realized too often I think that I need to be productive in order to be valuable. And when I feel busy and frazzled, essentially what I'm saying is that God made a mistake and didn't give me enough time, which of course is ridiculous. So what I've been doing is whenever I notice I start feeling too busy or too frazzled, I stop and think, what is it that's really essential right now? Now, a lot of stuff is left undone, but I'm doing the best that I can, and I'm putting God and my husband, my children, and relationships first, and then doing what I feel is important to do. Now, am I doing it perfectly? No, but nobody is. And I feel so much better when I can breathe, get enough rest, drink water, eat healthy food, go on a walk. I mean, just taking care of myself as a human. For so long, I feel like I haven't done that. And if you're in that spot right now where you feel like there's never enough time, let's back up a little bit and be a little more gentle on ourselves and recognize that there is enough time. You have enough time. You have to choose wisely what you're going to do and get rid of everything that's not essential. But when you do the things that only you can do and that are most important, you have all the time in the world and it feels amazing. Truth number 5. The only thing that matters is what God thinks of you. I have a book that I put together called Thursdays with Zoe. This is about my mom. She's in the final stages of Alzheimer's, and I've been reading stories about her life and the lessons that she taught me every Thursday when I go and visit her. And there's a chapter in the book about an experience that I had in 5th grade where a girl at school told another girl that she thought I was ugly. Now, as an 11-year-old girl who's kind of awkward and growing up and struggling, and I didn't know how to do my hair and I didn't have cute clothes. I mean, I still struggle with hair and clothes and all that, but I I was traumatized and I was so hurt that someone said I was ugly. And I went home at lunch because I lived across the street from the school. So I'd go home for lunch each day, most days. And I saw my mom and I walked in and I was just crying. And my mom sat me down on the couch. And she said, "April, what's wrong?" And I was able to say, "Well, this girl says I'm ugly." And my mom sat there for a minute. She didn't just blurt something out, "Oh, you're not ugly." She just sat there for a minute. And then she said, "Okay, April, first of all, you're not ugly." And then she said, "Second, is God pleased with you?" And I thought about it for a minute and thought about how I was doing my best to be, obedient. I was doing my best to live a good life and to be kind. And I thought and said, yeah, I nodded my head that, yeah, God was pleased with me. And then my mom said that is the only thing that matters. Understanding that one principle helps me every single day. Because as of even a few weeks ago, I have a tendency to get all bent out of shape if I do something that frustrates someone else. If I frustrate my husband, if I frustrate my children, if there's a community member who's upset about something, or if there's someone in the neighborhood, I just get bent out of shape. I'm a total people pleaser at heart, and it really is hard for me if people are unkind or critical or angry when that's never my intention. I'm sure you guys get that. But one of the things that I've recognized, I actually have this written down in my daily reminders, is this. If someone is upset with you, step back and assess what I think of you. The only opinion that matters is mine. Now, you can probably guess that I put together this daily reminder sheet that actually has impressions and ideas that I've received from God. And this is one of those things I have to be reminded of every day, that when someone is upset, yes, I want to help fix it and apologize and, do what I can, because yes, I make mistakes. But when I can step back and assess what God thinks of me, that helps to put things in perspective, because really that is the only opinion that really matters. All right, truth number 6. The Lord wants us to bounce through life. Now, I know this probably sounds weird, but this was one of my mom's phrases, and I totally forgot about it until a couple of months ago. I was at a conference, and it was between sessions. I was driving to the morning session the next day, like day 2 of the conference, and I was feeling a lot of anxiety and a huge lack in self-confidence. There were some big choices that I needed to make professionally and personally, and some really big investments in myself, time-wise and financially. And I was feeling like I was weighed down. So I called my sister Laura that morning. Now, I have 5 sisters, so blessed. Because our mom has Alzheimer's, I can't really call her anymore. I have 5 sisters and 2 brothers and awesome sisters-in-law. Like, we have such a good family, and a mother-in-law. Okay, great people. But when I'm feeling low, and when I normally would have called my mom, I call my sisters. And so I called Laura one morning, and I just said, "Hey, I would have called Mom right now. Are you available?" And she's so nice to drop everything and talk with me. And I explained how I was feeling overwhelmed, and I explained that I was feeling self-doubt, and I was worried, and I was scared, and all those thoughts, that go on in your head. And she said, "Remember, Mom used to say, the Lord wants us to bounce through life. That you don't need to be weighed down." And as we talked about it, and she encouraged me, and we talked, at length, but she reminded me of that, and the image made me so happy that as I got out of the car and walked into this conference, and as I did decide to make some really big investments in myself and move forward with some of these goals, I just thought about this image of bouncing, being light, being happy, having joy and confidence, and trust that a higher power has got you. So as I went through that, I just wanted to be able to share that with you as well, because God wants you to bounce through life too. There is an amazing resource by Dr. David Burns I need to tell you about, because this is going to help you actually know how to do that. I think the concept of bouncing is great, and some of you can probably do that just based on your own faith. I feel like sometimes I need help with the logistics, like, well, what do I do with the thoughts in my head, and how do I work through all this? Okay, so Dr. David Burns is one of the leading psychiatrists in the country. He's amazing. He wrote the book Feeling Good, which sold like 5 million copies, and When Panic Attacks. Feeling Good Together is one about relationships. I actually interviewed him on our podcast at learndobecome.com/episode 13. Let's do the word episode and 1-3. So you can check that out. But he's seriously one of the best motivators and mentors for me, because I get in my head way too often. So one of the best resources I want you to check out, like obviously all of his books are great, but he has a podcast now. It's just called Feeling Good. It seriously does that for you. So I've listened to every episode, and he walks through the process and explains to you that depression and anxiety are totally optional. We have the ability to control our thoughts. Now, if you have a bad thought like, oh, I made a mistake, or oh, this needs to change, that's fine. It's all about progress and moving forward. And it's not saying we should never think anything that's not, helping us move forward. But the moment you have anxiety or you start feeling depressed, that's totally optional. So go check that out, because he's seriously amazing. So whether you check out my episode with him where I interviewed him, that's our episode 13 here at Learn, Do, Become Radio, or go find his podcast Feeling Good, because that will be huge for you. I want all of us here in our community to bounce through life. There are way too many things trying to pull us down, and it's absolutely not worth it. There is such a better way to live. So, okay, I'm going to review these 6 truths. Here we go. Truth 1, your goals are not too big. Truth 2, you are not failing. Truth 3, when challenges arise, recognize that they are only going to strengthen you. God needs brave sons and daughters. Truth number 4, you have enough time. Everything doesn't have to be done right this minute. Truth number 5, the only thing that matters is what God thinks of you. And truth number 6, the Lord wants us to bounce through life. I hope that these ideas help remind you of the things that you already know. Nothing here is earth-shattering or brand new. But these are the thoughts that I need to be reminded of every single day. I want to be able to live my purpose, and part of that includes helping you to live yours. So thank you so much for being here with us at Learn, Do, Become Radio. Stay on if you want to hear a little bit about what's going on behind the scenes here at learndobecome.com, because yes, I have some really big goals and there's a lot that we're working on. I'm super excited. And I can't wait to share it with you. So stay on if you want to hear about that. Otherwise, have a great day, and we'll see you soon. All right, now we're going to transition into what's going on behind the scenes. It's actually been about 5 days since I recorded that first part of the podcast. I had a lot going on around here. I'm still spending several hours a day in bed. We've had a daughter in a basketball tournament. There's just been a lot happening here. And we've been getting ready for Christmas. So that's been a little bit busy. But I just wanted to share with you just the story of what happened after I finished recording that last segment. It was a Sunday morning as I was recording, and I went downstairs afterwards to find every chair, ottoman, everything that we own in our house basically was in the front room. There was this little obstacle course that my boys had put together, and I realized they hadn't been getting ready for church at all. So we were trying to rush everybody into their showers and baths, and I was trying to get myself ready. Totally missed breakfast. And then as my youngest son was taking a bath, we realized that he'd cut his finger open a couple days prior at the elementary school, and we couldn't get the bandage off, all the gauze, because it was like stuck to his finger. And so we had to soak it in the bathtub for a long time. And then we were totally running late for church. I'm doing my makeup in the car. I had one of my daughters that was curling her hair and the curls weren't turning out right. So she wasn't ready. And it was literally like chaos trying to get to church. Anyway, it worked. We made it and had a wonderful time. But I just want to let you know everything isn't super calm and normal around here. Well, I guess chaos is normal, right? But it's just funny. So just want to let you know it's not always just quiet and peaceful over here. Okay, so as far as what's coming at Learn, Do, Become, just 3 things I want to share with you. First, I want to talk about how you discover your purpose and how that's finally happened for me. I'm really excited about that. Number 2, I want to talk about how it's super important for each of us to take the time to, I call it butterfly. We'll talk about what that means. And then 3, I want to give you an update on the Arise program that I'm working on, because that's just so exciting to me and I can't wait. And talking about it makes it feel more real. Okay. All right. So first, let's just talk about discovering your purpose. If you've already totally discovered your purpose and you know exactly what you are meant to do, and you feel focused and you feel like you really already have this feeling of what your mission is, I think that's awesome. I'm almost there. I think I'm just about there. But for so many years, I've just felt so scattered. Like, okay, I love writing. I have a book I wrote about my mom. I run powerofmoms.com. I love helping mothers. I like to talk about healthy eating and exercise. I'm Jonathan Baylor's co-host for The Sane Show. I like to work with Eric on life architecture stuff. I teach organization. I just felt like I was doing so many things, which I think was fine. I've been exploring a lot of areas and really learning who I am and what my focus is. And maybe you're at that point right now where you just have a lot of things you're interested in, or maybe you're just so overwhelmed by just the daily requirements of your life or the hard things going on in your life that you don't even have time to think about what you're meant to do and what your purpose is. So, I mean, we're always in different parts of the spectrum. But what I just wanted to share is that as I've really been thinking hard about it, exploring a lot of things, trying new things, I've discovered that what I do is help people to get out of overwhelm so that they can invest in their family and architect lives of excellence. Like, that's what I do. I help people eliminate piles, totally eliminate those feelings that you're drowning. And that's what I'm excited about, because that's something that I can take and run with for the rest of my life. Now, it might edit and change a little bit, but you know how there's certain people in your life who you go to do a certain job, like Dr. David Burns. I go to him if I ever feel anxious or depressed. He solves it for me. It's awesome. Jonathan Baylor, if I want to know what to eat or how to exercise, I go to him. He knows exactly how to help me, so I never have to count calories. I don't have to stress about it. He's totally helped me overcome my body image issues. It's awesome. So that's who I go to for that. Amy McCready from Positive Parenting Solutions, she's the one who helps me never need to yell at my kids and be able to work with them and help them want to behave. She's fantastic. So there's just certain people, certain mentors in my life who help me know what I need to know in certain areas. And so as I've thought about it, like, well, what do I feel like I'm best at in the world? And honestly, I feel like I am best at helping people get out of overwhelm. So if someone's feeling totally overwhelmed by emails or paper piles or clutter or lists or expectations, I want them to come to me and I want to help them, show them the step-by-step process to get out of it. So that's what Eric and I do in our Steps to Everyday Productivity program. If you want to come to one of our classes, I think I mentioned it in the intro, it's learndobecome.com/step. We're in the middle of getting like a yesterday's replay on there, because I know it's hard for some people if you're working during the day or something like that to make it to one of our live classes. But if you haven't made it to a live class, come. We hold them often. We'd love to have you. Go check out that link. And then Also, I am working on some other ways to help people get into the program and learn about it, not just a webinar, but webinars are just so fun. We love them. Okay, so that's number one, is I feel like finally I get my purpose and we're moving forward there. Oh, one other part of that is that Eric and I are finally learning how to work together using our strengths. For a long time, I was trying to get him to do things I thought he should do, and he was feeling kind of frustrated by me, and then I was frustrated by him. But we've learned that as far as right now at Learn to Become, I'm more of the podcaster and content creator and the program creator, and Eric is the vision, strategy, marketer, supporter, like behind the scenes guy. He wants to do more. He's got awesome life architecture stuff coming, which I'm excited about, but we're learning how to work with our strengths and the things we love doing. So that's been great too. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, each of us need time to butterfly every day. Okay, so what's butterflying? I'll talk more about my butterfly project in the future, but this is something I started a couple years ago as I realized that I was living like a caterpillar. I was not living up to my potential. I was doing things I thought other people wanted me to do, and I wasn't thriving. And so I went through something I called my butterfly project. I'm still going through it, still learning and growing. It's kind of an ongoing thing. But I learned that it's possible to live a little bit each day as the butterfly, even if you're not there yet. So now there are male and female butterflies, so this isn't totally a feminine thing, but whenever I want to podcast or write or create or do something to live my mission and do things that are just being done to fulfill my purpose, doesn't have to be for a financial reason. It doesn't have to be because I'm checking something off a list. It's just because I want to do it. We call it butterflying. So Eric will say, all right, April, I want you to go butterfly. Like, take some time to butterfly. And so that's something I'm really working on doing, because sometimes it's hard to make time for it. I'll make time for emergencies. I'll make time for anyone else who needs me, but then I don't make time to live my mission. And I need to do more of that. So I hope that you, as you're thinking about the coming year, even if you're working long hours, which I get, or you've got a lot of hard things happening, maybe in your immediate family or extended family, or just some things are weighing you down, if you can just figure out what it means to you to butterfly and even schedule in 10 to 15 minutes to do it, it's fantastic. I mean, yeah, like right now, just to get this podcast out to you, it's taken me a week just to record it. Like, I've been thinking about it. I just haven't been able to get to it because I haven't had the energy by the end of the day. But even just taking a few minutes right now to record this outro, then I can add the music. We can get this up on iTunes and get it out to you. And yeah, it's a process. But I feel so excited getting to do the things I love. Okay. Number 3, I just want to give you an update on Arise. In the podcast I recorded about how I use Asana, I introduced Arise at the end, just kind of some of the topics I want to talk about in the membership. It's a membership program I'm working on. I don't know exactly how I'm going to set it up yet. I have a coach I'm working with right now and more programs and trainings I'm going through next year. And so I'm getting help on just how to structure it, because I don't want it to overwhelm me, but I want it to be able to last for years and years. I'm really excited about it. But one thing I have discovered, even though the program isn't built yet and I don't have it up and running, is I've discovered the acronym for what Arise stands for. Now, I was actually out running errands one day. I was traveling, and then I was out at the store. I was actually at Target, and I was thinking about the word Arise. This is going to be the name of my program. There's a lot of reasons behind it. But I thought, well, wouldn't that be kind of fun if the success path within Arise, the path that somebody takes from, where they start out to where they end up, it could be ARISE and have a verb for each one of those. And it sounded fun, but I thought, I don't want some random verb that's going to sound weird, and I'm not going to stretch this. I'm not going to just come up with some acronym just for the sake of having an acronym. I'm only going to do it if it actually makes sense and actually feels right. So as I was walking through Target, I was looking on this verbs.com or verbs101.com or something like that. And I was looking at every verb that starts with an A and every verb that starts with an R and NISE. And I went through and I had my planner open. I was jotting down verbs I liked. So, I probably looked so random in the middle of Target doing this, but I was so excited about it. Okay, so these are the 5 verbs that I have right now. And they might change. I'm not 100%, but I really like these. Okay, so are you ready to hear them? Are you excited as I am? Okay, A stands for anchor. When you come in the program, first of all, we're going to anchor and figure out what it is that matters to you. You have to acknowledge you've been drifting. I think all of us go through times in life where we're drifting. We're going to anchor and we're going to figure out what that means. Whether you're anchoring in certain principles and values, beliefs, we're going to anchor and we're not going to drift anymore. Okay, so that's A. R is replenish. You are tired. We get tired. And so many times we just say, I can keep going. I don't have to stop. I don't need rest. And we do. We need to recognize we're being stretched. You may be going through some emotional trauma, or you might have a lot of stress and anxiety you're getting over or going through, but we're going to replenish. We're going to rest. We're going to nurture ourselves. We're going to take care of ourselves. And I think sometimes it's more of a female thing, but not necessarily. I think men sometimes just stretch it and push it and never actually step back to replenish and take care of themselves emotionally, intellectually, physically, all that. Okay. Then I is for invest. Once you've anchored and replenished, now it's time to invest in yourself. So you're going to invest time, energy, resources, learning, taking courses, growing, exploring, figuring out what it is that you love, what you're meant to do, how you can up level in your business, how you can strengthen your family. We're going to invest in ourselves and in our goals, because that's what's going to help us to get the knowledge we need to get results. Then S is for structure, because once you've kind of gathered all these ideas and you've learned and you've figured things out, now this is where we architect our lives. This is where we create a structure. What does my daily routine look like? What are my commitments within my family? What are my commitments within my business? What are the activities that I will and will not do? What are the boundaries I'm setting? We structure our lives so that I know what things deserve my attention and when I'm just going to have to say no. Like one thing that I've structured into my life is minimal travel. I traveled a lot a couple months ago. I was going to conferences. I was working with one-on-one clients. I was moving around, and I was on airplanes like more often than I'd been ever. For about a few weeks, I was always traveling. I hate it. I don't like to be away from my husband. I don't like to be away from my children. I don't like airplanes. I don't like hotels by myself, unless it's just down the street once a month. We'll talk about that more later. But that's been awesome. And so as we structure, I've just decided I'm staying home. I don't want to travel right now unless I have to, or unless there's, this one conference that's really important I'm going to go to, but I want to be home. And that's an important decision Eric and I have discussed. And so now if I get an invitation to go travel to something, most likely 9 out of 10 times I'm going to say no. And that's been so freeing for me. So anyway, your life is going to be different than mine, obviously. But I think as you think about your structuring, recognize you get to choose. You get to create it. Just because there's an opportunity to go somewhere and do something doesn't mean you have to take it. And often we're giving up so much when we're always on the go. We're always leaving our families. I like to run carpools. I like to make dinner with my kids. I like to help with homework. Like I want to be there right now because I only have a few more years with them. Okay, so that's S. And then E is expand. This is where I want you to picture like the butterfly wings opening. We're expanding, not just expanding our personal growth, but expanding our influence. We are meant to help each other. And I know it's totally out of our comfort zone sometimes. Like right now, recording into this microphone, I'm thinking, I'm sure that there's someone on the other end thinking, who is this Loop? Who is this girl? What is she doing? And someone's not going to like it. A lot of people probably aren't going to like it, but you know what? I'm not there for them. I'm there for you. I'm here for you. When we expand and when we get brave and when we start using our voice and working hard within our sphere of influence, that's where we start to see change. My life has been so blessed by people getting outside their comfort zones, by being willing to reach out and help me, because I need that help. I wasn't born knowing everything. No one was. We need each other. And so the whole goal of Arise is to take someone, and this is me too, I go through this over and over again, who feels overwhelmed, who feels like they're drifting, who feels like family relationships are just not where they want to be, their life isn't where they want it to be, and then go through a step-by-step process of Arise to get to the point where you're grounded, you're solid, you're rested, you're using your talents, and you're ready to expand your influence and be a stronger instrument in the hands of God. That's what Arise is. And I feel so excited about this. I can't wait to get it going. But at the same time, I have to be wise in how I roll out new programs because there's still a lot I want to do within our Steps to Everyday Productivity program. I'm super excited about that. Love the community there. And I'm investing a lot of time and energy right now behind the scenes there. But then as that can become more solid and I can jump into Arise and start creating that next program, I just feel so excited about it. So, okay, hopefully that's a good little behind the scenes sneak peek of what's going on here. So as far as next steps for you, if you are brand new to LearnDoBecome.com and you haven't attended one of our live classes, go to LearnDoBecome.com/step and come sign up for a class. We'll help you totally get out of the overwhelm, right? And if you don't want to come to a live class right now, no problem. Go to our homepage, LearnDoBecome.com. We have a special free audio and a little download on 5 life-changing habits most people overlook. Go check that out. Helps you kind of get to know our community, shares a few solid ideas you can implement right away, and then you can keep in touch. All right. So have a great day. We really appreciate you sharing the podcast, sharing our website, telling your friends about what we're doing here. We want to bring more people into this community to help strengthen one another. And I'm just thrilled to be able to be a part of it. Thank you for helping me live my mission. I'm here to help you live yours. And have a great day. Take care. We'll see you soon at LearnDoBecome.com.